Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Maxi here once again, and I am back for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos here. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Winnie the Pooh's Rumbly Tumbly Adventure for the Nintendo GameCube/PlayStation 2. So, last time, we've essentially did somehow manage able to complete everything for Tigger's birthday stage, and on top of that, it's nice to able to actually play as Piglet after the events of Piglet's big game, because overall, we can able to actually scare some Heffalumps and Wurzels again, since in his own game, but even then though, that's for a completely different topic for the sake of time. So even then though, it seems to be more specifically, we've only got 2 stages left. So as a result, today for this video, is that we're about to tackle through the next birthday stage. And this time it appears to be none other than Eeyore. So something tells me I don't think it's a possibility we can able to actually play as him in this birthday stage, but yeah.
Remembering Eeyore's birthday helped Pooh Bear forget about the Rumbly and his Tumbly.
Why, hello, Eeyore. I hope you're having a very happy birthday.
Not especially. Didn't start off very well. My house fell down again, and it's still not fixed.
Oh, perhaps something will come along to make your day better. We have a very special surprise for Eeyore today, and I shall go see how it is coming along.
Well, it looks like the weather condition has been changed, because as a result, very similar to the forms of how it does it on Eeyore's dream in Piglet's big game, well, relatively speaking though, is about the fact that it takes place in a different environment. So, yeah, relatively speaking though, because he was gloomy at this point, so even then though, hopefully we'll try to able to sort something out during this entire process. So, and it looks like something tells me about the fact that unlike in any other birthday stages as far as I'm concerned, I don't think we can probably able to actually see Kangaroo's house entering on the left side, because it looks like the gate has been closed off. So, and eventually at some point or another, we might able to actually experience some even more areas that we have not explored yet, at least in ever since in the past few stages ago. So, but even then though, yeah, that's sure it's something, I guess. So, anyways, and as always, we'll have to able to keep on collecting some more honey pots along the way, just for the sake of the forms of some progression. So, either way though, speaking of the honey pots collecting, it seems that we've almost pretty much done when it comes to collecting every single honey pots, and not only that, we've almost pretty much done when it comes to collecting all of those music notes as well, for able to actually unlock certain music packs or anything else like that for the sound test menu. So, but even then though, yeah, it seems no matter what though, the lighting is a bit too dark for my liking, but hopefully by that time, once we get to the final stage in the game, then everything else should be a little bit more bright again. So, it's just no matter what though, oh, it only happens during, oh, it's still raining, so I almost assume about the fact that it's going to be located in one specific location, but it's just multiple locations, so I almost assume that seems to be the case. So, anywho though, so a few things I want to explain for this point today, and that's what appears to be about the fact that today's date, of course, is the 29th of December today, in some cases in 2023 today. I believe, relatively speaking though, we've only just got about 3 more days to go, until we're about to move on to 2024. And still, I'm very looking forward for the likes of 2024, especially concerning about the fact that not only for certain films coming up, but also with the forms of some upcoming games here and there. Like for films department, I'm super excited about the forms of not only Inside Out 2, as well as Kung Fu Panda 4, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2, and on top of that, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. So because of that though, along with any other films for that part as well, so but even then though, and on top of that, when it comes to game selection, there's quite a number of them, despite the fact that most of them are actually like remasters and remakes most of the time. Like, I know for certain for one thing, and that's what appears to be I'm looking forward for the likes of Mario vs. Donkey Kong Nintendo Switch remake.
Able to cross.
Just a Pooh Bear I was hoping to see. We got trouble, buddy boy. Eeyore's secret-like surprise is about to be ruined.
Oh dear. Oh, perhaps I should try to cross the bridge and save it.
Looks like that bridge needs a turning with a turn-type handle. I'll bounce off and see if I can find one for you.
And also, I'm looking forward to the likes of Princess Peach Showtime, and of course, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, because after all, Luigi has already experienced the original Luigi's Mansion Let's Play ever since it journey forms in October. So even then though, it's nice to be able to actually just caught up with the actual entire Luigi's Mansion trilogy for the sake of the forms of series of Let's Plays for that matter. So anywho though, and of course, finally, most notably, is of course Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door remake, presumably for the Switch. So even then, oh yeah, as you can tell, we now decided able to take control of Tigger once again, ever since in Rue's birthday. So, and eventually though, about the fact that not only does it get slightly tougher, but I wouldn't say it's not much difficult about it, aside from the fact that the actual checkpoint system on its respawning points are actually super generous when it comes to the forms if you have certain struggles with the specific segments, like, you know what I'm saying, stealth-based, you know? So, yeah, not much else to say, apart from the fact that one thing in particular I forgot to mention about, and that's what appears to be about the fact that, darn it, I somehow got caught. So, it looks like, it seems kind of weird about the fact that we still can't bounce away from those, Wurzels, but, oh well, no big deal. So, even then though, and relatively speaking though, is about the fact that the good thing about this is though, like I said before, the checkpoint system has been generous, so because of that though, it makes things a little bit more easier than the forms of how it does it on Piglet's Big Game. So, because obviously, you know, unlike in Piglet's Big Game, that you have to be able to restart all the way to the beginning in that particular segment, so even then though, that's good for something I suppose. So, anywho. And sure enough, we actually got that particular item, and sure enough, we can able to actually go ahead and take control of Pooh again. So, yeah, not much explanation for the sake of that particular segment here.
Oh, thank you, Tigger.
Oh, you're welcome, Pooh. Now, you gotta go find little Piglet. He's gotten the present, you know.
Anywho though, let's get to the point about the fact I was meant to say is that there are some things I honestly forgot to mention about during the course of my nostalgia memories for the sake of looking back in Journey Forms within Christmas 2008, that not only did we somehow already mention about the forms that we've actually got the Wily DVD within a terrible cardboard sleeve condition, but also with Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Rare Rabbit, genuine copy with 2-disc special edition containing jam-packed full of content, including the cracking contraptions, which I always appreciate about it, and also not to mention though, the documentary are all about not only the forms of Wallace and Gromit Go to Hollywood, but also about the fact that with the amazing world of Wallace and Gromit as well, I guess. I mean, relatively speaking though, it has been a very long while since I actually utilized that particular 2-disc special edition copy of Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Rare Rabbit. I mean, relatively speaking though, it still is nice for me to be able to actually have the genuine copy of the film, not the bootleg version, because I usually used to have the bootleg version long time ago, but obviously about the fact that the actual the disc itself is now scratchable, and on top of all that stuff though, I'm not overly keen on the bootleg version anymore. Not just because about the forms of how the fact that the picture quality looks rather low, and is nowhere near as high as the genuine copies on certain DVDs, and every nowadays, the Blu-ray versions, and every now and then also with the 4K Ultra HD counterparts. I mean, relatively speaking though, it's about the fact that I'm going overboard for the sake of the fonts of the bootleg copies of certain DVDs in the past. Like, I know for certain for one thing about the fact that the most infamously out of them all though, what I remembered, is that I usually have the bootleg copy of Flushed Away on DVD back in Journey Forms event sometime in 2006 or something like that. And my god, not only the picture quality looks horrendously bad, but also about the fact that the sound mixing is bad. Like, really, really bad. Like, I can't hear any other dialogue. And then, thankfully, though, it wasn't until in 2007 roll around that I somehow managed able to get myself my genuine copy of flushed away, next to the forms of the Simpsons movie and the Jungle Book as well. So that might be good for something for me anyway. So anywho though, so exponentially, I also got myself, I remember when I managed able to get myself, not only Pokemon the Movie 2000, which does feature Pikachu's Rescue Adventure, and on top of that, the Power of One. So, but even then though, I remember I finally managed able to get the brand new sealed copy of the film, not the used second-hand copy, because I could imagine about the fact that when I was expecting to able to actually wish for that during the Forms of in 2008, I was a little bit worried about the fact that I might come across into a disc scratched or the scratched disc for the sake of the second-hand condition copies.
Oh, we missed again.
Hello, Roo. Hello, Eeyore. Are you playing a game today?
Nope, not a game. We're trying to catch these frogs so we can take them back to their mother.
Yeah, she keeps calling them, and her calls are stopping Mr. Rabbit from getting rest.
Sure would be helpful if we had a jar to put them in.
But luckily, it was actually the sealed copy of Pokemon the Movie 2000 DVD, so I was very lucky back then, so even then though, that's good for something, for me anyway. Although technically speaking, it's about the fact that with the forms of not only with Pokemon the Movie 2000, but also same applies with Pokemon the Movie 3, these both are entirely on the original format for the sake of the forms of the original packaging, because the forms of Kids WB logo attempt to show up before you start watching those films. But even then though, that's as far as I can usually say about that, I guess. So, and on top of all that stuff though, speaking of Pokemon the Movie 3, that I remember that I was very excited able to finally get a chance to watch Pokemon the Movie 3. In some cases it does contain not only Pikachu and Pichu for its Pikachu short, but also Spell of the Unknown. So as a result, I found it was a pretty underrated movie in my opinion, so...
A jar.
This will be very helpful for catching the frogs.
I know, Pooh Bear. Why don't you help Eeyore catch the frogs?
That sounds rather fun.
Gonna have to be quick. The frogs like to hide.
Either way... Oh, wait a second. Oh, I'm sorry. I somehow made a mistake from the likes of the beginning portion of this particular stage, that we were expecting to able to not play as Eeyore, but as it turns out, we actually going to be playing as Eeyore on his own birthday stage. So, yeah, that seems a bit weird, kind of thinking about it. So, obviously about the fact that we do need to able to catch frogs this time around though, instead of butterflies. So, obviously the goal remains the same, you need to able to catch every single of those frogs before we continue our progressioning, so I think that could be pretty useful.
Hooray! You did it!
Glad I could help. Suppose I'll go back to fixing my house now.
And I shall take these frogs to their mother.
That's a great idea, Pooh Bear. We'll see you soon.
And by the way, something's worth noting for, with those frog models in this game, they are basically based off from the Tinker movie as far as I can usually recall for that. So, but even then though, despite the fact that it's been a very long while since I actually have last seen the Tinker movie, and also on top of all that stuff though, it's been about quite a few hours ago since I actually have last played this game, so yeah, I apologize for my commentary is a little bit slightly iffy at this point, because honestly guys, that's as far as I can talk about for the sake of the forms of some news to tell you, and on top of all that stuff though with certain facts, and you pretty much named the rest of it though, especially concerning about that particular point that still, we can't even believe by saying this is about the fact that we've almost nearly at the end of 2023 still, and as far as my concerned about the forms of, oh shoot, well, there goes that particular scare right there, so, but then again though, if you manage able to get scared, then thankfully there was actually a generous checkpoint, although, if we get to the final stage in the game, that basically though, that is when about the fact that there won't be any checkpoints for the sake of time, so... But even then though, let's just go ahead and continue our progression there, and just make sure we don't get scared by those heffalumps again, so... And trying to aim for that particular balloon right over there, so... As long as we don't get cornered, then we should be okay, but then obviously about the fact that we should be able to make it at that point, so... Although, unlike in something related to that Ticker's Dream in Piglet's Big Game, that, my goodness gracious, that you have to able to be super smart when it comes to able to try to avoid the basic heffalump in Journey Forms of that Hedge maze segment. And yeah, it is not as easy as it attempted would be, but still, thankfully though, it actually did took me about one attempt during the Forms of in Piglet's Big Game playthrough, so specifically on the console version, not the handheld version. So speaking of the handheld version though, if you're probably wondering, when can I possibly tackle through the handheld version of Winnie the Pooh's Rumbly Tumbly adventure, if you're wondering? Well, maybe if it's a possibility, but I'm probably not going to consider to thinking about it right now, although they might be concerning about the fact that until next year will mark the 20th anniversary of, without a doubt, is one of my least favorite Winnie the Pooh movies ever, which appears to be Winnie the Pooh's Springtime with Roo, not just because the forms of the lack of additional characters, but it's also about the fact that that particular movie to me though just feels a bit, I don't know, kind of basic in my opinion. So, but even then though, that's for my honest opinion about that particular movie in mind. I mean, I do like it as a kid, but while looking back at it now, it just feels kind of, well, okay-ish to me. So, but even then though, although don't get me wrong, I don't mind it, but it's just that it's not my favorite though. So, but even then though, yeah, that's as far as I can usually just try and able to describe about any of those specific stuff, opinion related, so... Anyway though, so, yeah, not much else to say, so, but even then though, again, I would have liked able to explain something else for this point today, but like I said before, there's not much else I can speak about it, because I would explain quite a few bits here and there, especially concerning about the fact that, assuming of course about the fact that once we move on to the final stage in the entire game, something tells me about the fact that we need to do a lot. I mean, a lot of backtracking, and on top of that, multitude of playable characters will be forced to play as, and I think something tells me that unlike in Piglet's Big Game, that normally we were supposed to have the true final level once we finish up with every birthday levels, but something tells me this game is no exception to able to have the super final boss or anything else like that. So, anyway though, let's go and sort this out here.
Oh, thank you, Pooh Bear. At last, a little peace and quiet. Now I can get some rest.
Alright, so I believe if I recall correctly, we need to able to obtain the lily pad now, according to the forms of that particular circular sparkle effect. So we'll go ahead and grab that. And exponentially the game auto saves, so that should be a good thing. So anyway, did you guys know about the fact that it's been about, I would say it's been about 2 weeks ago since when Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget has been came out on Netflix, which as a result, I still managed to able to watch it even today, countless amount of times, because still, it is a very, very, very great return for the likes of the Chicken Run crew, especially not only do we get ourselves, you know, the familiar characters, as we probably already established that ever since during the forms of in the past few Let's Plays of 2023 so far, or relatively speaking by far. So either way though, so it looks like we still need to able to try to go after that particular balloon, so we can able to scare those Wurzels here, so... Hopefully, it won't be giving me that much trouble, I don't think, despite the fact that every time whenever I accidentally run off onto the actual other awkward spots, then sometimes those that I easily managed to able to get screwed up. So, but either way, somehow we did somehow manage to sort this out. So, and speaking of which, let's place that lily pad onto this particular side. Now we can able to hop across the actual stream. And we can now able to actually, I think something tells me is that we're about to be able to explore, I would say Rabbit's Garden portion. So yeah, I guess that's a kind of a cool scenario, but something tells me also is that we got to able to deal with some bee heffalumps once again, so hopefully we're able to actually scare them off with the balloon. So, and by the way, these things can run or fly ridiculously fast, so hopefully we're able to dish them out, and that should be good to go. And I believe there's actually a music note right in here, so we can able to obtain that, so that should be all pretty swell. So, and while at it though, we still need able to obtain some more honey pots while this is going on, because even then note that, like I said before, is that we're basically almost done collecting every single honey pot in the game. Mind you, it's not that much amount in total, which I was able to do a bit of a mathematician for the sake of the forms of how much honey pots does it contain in the entire game, compared to the forms of how it does it for the amount of cookies you're going to be collecting from the likes of Piglet's big game. But even then though, I believe there was actually a glowing pumpkin, which actually signifies the honey pots will be in here, so... Anyways, let's go ahead and obtain those, and okay, that was it. I almost assumed that it's going to be brings us something more, but apparently that's all there is really contains. So, anywho though, so let's go into here. And of course, deliver some more honey for the bees, and I think relatively speaking though, we were also able to get a yet another item that we can use. So something tells me about the fact that we can now able to utilize a hammer. A hammer indeed, huh? I mean, kind of think about it though, I'm sure that Winnie the Pooh will be strong enough to able to utilize the hammer, so yeah, we're also able to go ahead and backtrack for that particular part itself again, and once again, I apologize for my commentary, it's a little bit slightly awkward at this point. It's most notably because, much like it forms of how it does on the past few months ago, including with our several Let's Plays in the past, like for instance with Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Bros. 3, as well as the forms of Sonic Frontiers, and as well as the forms of other Let's Plays like Metroid Zero Mission and all that stuff, that my computer once again decides to lag again, so... But thankfully though, this will be the final time for able to mentioning that specific word, because by that time, not long now, relatively speaking, that I'm about to able to upgrade my brand new laptop. So hopefully it will run a lot better than the forms of how it does it for my Acer laptop that I've been had for a very, very, very long time. To be more specifically, 10 years and 5 months so far, at least according to the forms of my memory calculations, then that might be totally seems to be the case. So, but before we take care of the forms of any other stuff worth noting for, we need to once again get rid of those woozles again, so hopefully we would... Ah, dang it, I got cornered. Oh well, I suppose maybe the respawning points might help me a little bit, but even then though, sometimes it's kind of annoying that you have to sit for those loading screens, so... It doesn't bother me too much though, I must be quite frank here, so even then though. But, relatively speaking though, is about the fact that I'm pretty sure we've almost at the halfway point, or actually, kind of think about it, we're now onto the halfway point in Eeyore's birthday stage. So, either way though, thankfully we actually got to respawn onto here, so... Anyways, let's go ahead and pop the balloon to get rid of these blue variants of those woozles here. And now we can able to actually go all the way over here. And, relatively speaking though, I was expecting to able to check on something, so... Anyways, time to use this glorious hammer to smash those rocks. Think of like a worker or anything, except no pickaxe or something. I know for the fact that in the DreamWorks movie Ants, that basically though Z managed to utilize a pickaxe, although that was before when not only Azteca, but also with the forms of Weaver decided to use it.
Oh, Pooh, look! This rock is going to fall. And when it falls, it will fall on Eeyore's present.
Don't worry, Piglet. I'll see what I can do.
Wow, it looks like we've bumped into Piglet again ever since in Tigger's birthday. So, and I believe, relatively speaking, that was about the fact that we need to look after Eeyore's house as his birthday present applies. That basically, though, we need to sort out with this boulder first. So, but before we do all that stuff, though, we need to obviously collect some more honey pots just in case for progression's sake. And on top of all that stuff, though, about the fact that unlike, you know, cookies, they can able to actually only spend on them for, you know, unlocking a new brave face for Piglet. So I believe something tells me also is that we might able to actually come across into the second brave face for Piglet if I'm assuming correctly, that we might able to actually have the ability to able to play as Piglet again. So yeah, that might be the prime example of that. So either way, not much else to say. So but even then though, hopefully by that time though is about the fact that when it comes to the forms of trying to utilize the forms of, well, I don't know how do I usually explain about any of these things, I have to be quite frank.
There must be something we can do to save Eeyore's present.
Okay, that's all he has to say. So, either way though, yeah, let's just go ahead and go into this cave right here. So, but even then though, hopefully we should able to actually start to find some even more honey pots around in journey forms of the actual cave. And I believe something tells me also that basically there's going to be yet another music note inside in here somewhere. So, but of course, before we do all that stuff though, we need to pop this, I would say, the next balloon, presumably speaking. Oh, jeez Louise. I was not expecting that he goes super duper fast. But thankfully though, we did somehow manage to choose the alternative pathway, not the actual attempted way, so that should be all sorted by then. So anyways, let's go ahead and grab some more honey pots here. And I think that gives us enough for able to actually conclude everything for the likes of Eeyore's birthday stage, so... But anyway though, alright, so that should be good to go for this point. Yep, there we go. Alright. So I think there's some more honey pots in this rock. Kind of weird how the fact that those rocks will be shakeable, so... I know, it might be something related to like, oh I don't know, video game logic I guess. But even then though, it seems kind of weird. And believe it or not, there's a music note in here. And there we go. Alright, so let's just go ahead and... Yeah, every once in a while though is about the fact that much like the cookies in the later dreams in Piglet's big game, there are times though about the fact that certain honey pots will attempt able to go even further away from you. So obviously about the fact you need to quickly grab them as much as you can. So there we go. Alright, so now we're done with that, and now let's go ahead and investigate for that tiny little hole that I don't think we can probably fit inside.
Oh, this passage is a bit too narrow for me, but perhaps Piglet could get through.
Indeed, because he might be the only one who can able to succeed for this point, so... Either way, so let's go ahead and backtrack and just get out of this cave for the time being, and quickly switch over to Piglet, so just in case he can able to do some hard work for us. So, because sure enough though, that he was top notch, even especially noticeable just to play as him, which I've already on about that.
Oh, Piglet, it seems that our path is blocked, and only a very small animal such as yourself can get through.
Oh, all right, Pooh Bear. I'll try and help.
So yeah, now we're going to be taking control of Piglet again, so even then though, as we expected, we might able to come across into a different brave face than the forms of how it does it on Tigger's birthday stage, and it looks like the actual, the exit of the cave has been blocked off, so relatively speaking now, let's go ahead and take care of these, usual, Woolzels and Heffalumps for time to time, and now we have 4 button presses, so... Hopefully we should be able to actually take them down, but relatively speaking though... Oh god. His voice sounds a little bit too off in this game. Although mind you, because I'm pretty much used to with this perfection sound design of Piglet's big game in my opinion, because relatively speaking I was about the fact that it just sounds too perfect. Whilst... Oh jeez, I did not notice my button, the X button does not seem able to register with me that much. Oh jeez. No! Oh jeez, that was close. Thankfully, if you do manage to able to scare off the bee Heffalump, then obviously about the fact that if you somehow scared him, then obviously he'll just back away for a bit. And why does my X button not seem to show up here? Come on. Come on. Thank you. Oh, hold on. Oh, really? I almost assume it's gonna able to be popped out at all times. Oh jeez, that was quite an embarrassment. But hopefully though, he'll be gone for good. Oh man, that was something else entirely. Alright, so let's just go ahead and press some more buttons. Oh jeez, he's now in high pitch. Jeez, what is this? Honestly though, I think the normal pitch voice sounds a little bit better. I mean, relatively speaking, no, that's what I could really think about it. So, anyway, so now let's go for this particular narrow portion of this particular exit right here. And sure enough, we can able to actually just to try to sort out with the boulder, if we've so much more of a desires or something like that. So, that again though, I apologize for my commentary is a little bit iffy at points, which, yeah, that's not much else I can say, so.
I'm very glad we saved Eeyore's present, but now it seems that we are stuck.
Pooh Bear, I think I can get through. I'll go and get a stick to clear the way.
But wait, there's more to come. Because as it turns out, it's about the fact that we're not exactly done yet, because now the boulder's been blocked off the actual entrance for Pooh. So relatively speaking, Piglet is the only one who can somehow manage to able to barely fit through the boulder itself. So again, super impressive on his part, especially because he was small after all. So, but even then though, yeah, that's what I can really think about that, I guess. So, alright, so, and even then though, certain waltzes also do have, like, different sound pitching as well. I mean, sure, it's a bit weird though. Because, yeah, it's important to know that we always have to make sure we need to get rid of those Wurzels or Heffalumps, depending on what enemies we might able to face up against, so just in case for the sake of progression, just like the forms of how it does it on Piglet's big game basically, so I don't think it's possible we can able to see all of those familiar scary faces from the likes of in Piglet's big game, because like I said before, it has a little bit of amount of those brave faces for Piglet, but either way, now we've actually taken care of those Wurzels now, so now we can able to actually continue proceedings all the way to the right, and I think we might able to actually come across into yet another item that we can somehow utilize with, so yeah, not much else to say, but then again, I would have liked able to explain something else more, but to be honest with you, we're almost done with the entire game, but I know for a fact that the entire game is going to be significantly shorter than the forms of how it does it on Piglet's big game, like I said before. So either way, let's go ahead and find something sparkly, and sure enough, well, there it is. Oh, jeez. We actually stumbled across into that familiar enemy right here, which appears to be that Mirror Wurzel here. So, of course, if you ever experienced Piglet's big game before, obviously that every time when Mirror Wurzel decides to able to do that, obviously about the fact that it just flips the screen over. So, yeah, if you already experienced Piglet's big game before, you know exactly how it sounds. Except that since we're not going to be doing with a different brave face in order to able to scare him off, so relatively speaking though, everything else will be self-explanatory by then. So I think relatively speaking though, is that I don't think it's a possibility we might able to bump into hide-and-seek Wurzels anymore, because I think something tells me about the fact that it'll just make things twice as hard for certain players out there, so. But either way, there goes the basic Heffalump right there, and oh, there's the sparkle effect. I was wondering what that was, especially concerning about the fact that, like I said before, we need to take care of all of those enemies before we do anything, so. Anyway, so now we've got the stick, and now let's go ahead and sort out the boulder for, presumably, for the final time, so, yeah.
Why, I never knew that I was so strong.
Oh, yes, Piglet, and you were very brave, too. Now, I shall go get Eeyore, so that we can give him his present.
Well, Piglet, I am very impressed of how you have somehow managed able to go for a lot of hard work there even especially noticeable because I've completely forgot to mention about this ever since it journey forms within Tigger's birthday stage, that I must say that Piglet as a character is by far is probably my favorite playable character in terms of this entire game, clearly because about the fact I'm pretty much used to playing as him, not just by the forms of this game, but also with the forms of his own game, Piglet's Big Game. Well, that's just mainly because I'm more accustomed to the forms of some tactical button prop reaction commands, or specifically, you know, quick time events and stuff like that. But usually, relatively speaking, no. I think playing as Pooh is okay, but it's just about the fact that usually you can't able to actually fight back those Heffalumps and Wurzels. I get it because of how the fact that they easily got scared by them, so, and the most threatening things in the world during the forms of the 100-acre wood. Understandably so, but either way though, so now we're done with that. And now we need to go all the way back to the beginning portion of this particular birthday stage. And because of that though, since we somehow rescued Eeyore's birthday present, which is of course Eeyore's house after all, despite the fact that it's basically rebuilt countless amount of times in the past few years or something like that. Mind you, I haven't exactly watched too much of Winnie the Pooh stuff as much as the next guy, but even then no. Yeah, prepare ourselves with the forms of a lot of emphasis on getting chased by the forms of not only Heffalumps and Wurzels a lot, because by that time, not just by the forms of this Eeyore's birthday stage, but to be more specifically on the final stage, that we have to do this a lot. So just to ensure about the fact that it gives us a bit of a challenge, so, but even then though, I'm sure to make our way towards Eeyore doesn't seem too far from here, so hopefully we're able to meet up with him from here, because at this point in time is about the fact that I'm pretty sure once we get to the final stage, that obviously about the fact that I don't think they're probably going to bring us any more checkpoints for that particular respawning points, so either way, there's a balloon over there. I don't think it's a possibility for me to able to actually get this on the first attempt because, well, those bee Heffalumps just somehow caught up, so oh well, no big deal, because obviously the respawn points will be super generous on this stage in particular, so but then again, though, there's not much else I can usually decide able to talk about the actual specific news and updates for you guys, because I already mentioned about the forms of some brief amount of stuff, so, but even then, though, and by that time until tomorrow anyway, though, especially noticeable about the fact that we've almost finishing up with this entire game, and obviously about the fact that I'm pretty sure it's a possibility that, well, let me know in the comments down below if you guys want me to tackle through the handheld version or the GBA version of Winnie the Pooh's Rumbly Tumbly adventure. Now, for what I've played it, back in long time ago though, it, usually relatively speaking though, it plays exactly like the forms of how it does on the Game Boy Advance version of Piglet's Big Game, basically. So, anyways, let's meet up with Eeyore.
Happy birthday, Eeyore! We have a very special surprise for you.
A surprise?
Yes, and if you follow me, we can surprise you with it. Happy birthday, Eeyore. We have a surprise for you.
Oh, yes, a secret surprise.
Oh, look, a new house. Just what I wanted. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome, Eeyore.
And indeed, Pooh Bear remembered that Eeyore's birthday surprise was one of the best ever.
And with that, Eeyore's birthday is fully wrapped up. So, yeah, pretty lengthy though, but regardless of such though, still pretty easy regardless. So, it looks like we've only got one more birthday stage to go, until we've basically done everything for the sake of the forms of Winnie the Pooh's Rumbly Tumbly adventure. So, and also it will be about the time where we're able to get the last batch of those honey pots, and you name the rest. So with that being said, yeah, we basically unlocked Pooh's birthday apparently. So I suppose we're miles able to end things off this point right here, so join me next time for more of Let's Play of Winnie the Pooh's Rumbly Tumbly adventure. Is that we're about to go on to the final birthday stage, which is of course Pooh's birthday. So I'll see you guys until tomorrow. Later, fellas.